2025 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission. And pursuant to the amendment of Bill H3548 and Governor Healy signing such amendment into law in March of 2025, expressing certain provisions of the open meeting law, this public meeting of the Town of Bolton Conservation Commission is being conducted via remote participation. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but the public can access this meeting while in progress by Zoom Video Communications, Inc. Members of the public attending this meeting virtually will be allowed to make comments if they wish to do so during the portion of the hearing designated for public comment by telephone, cell phone, or personal computer using Zoom. Some guidelines for participants: please utilize the chat or raise hand function to address the board. Please remain on mute until you have been addressed by the board, and participants are required to display their first and last names. All of that said, by tradition, we will start with a roll call of present members. I am Brian Barabee.
Paul Brandholt. Jim Gardy.
Laura Stevenson.
Sue Mitra.
All right. First up this evening, the Bolton Conservation Commission will now open a public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to discuss a request for determination of applicability for 38 Harvard Road. Lauren, is the applicant or rep for the applicant here this evening?
Yep, we have Eric Hagendorn here.
Us through the project quickly, what you're proposing?
Yes, so we're just looking to build a fence on part of our property. Part of this property does have wetland conservation, and so we are looking to kind of find a part off onto the side of the property to put up a fence along that line. There's some water, obviously, kind of in that wetland area. We have a newborn, and we have dogs, and so we want to kind of be careful and not have dogs or children kind of wandering into that area. So,
okay. Lauren, do we have a map of this?
Sure, I can share my screen.
I guess I'm asking, can you share the one from our packet?
Yep. 1 minute. We have a few separate images here, so we can go. I'm not sure which one is the best. I'll pull them up. Nope. I'm just going to go through them quickly and see which one.
Parcel map maybe 1.
Parcel map 1. Okay, right here.
Yeah, could you zoom in on that one?
Sure.
All right, does that give us a good idea?
What, is that too close? Need me to zoom out? Or
no, I
that
think
okay?
that's probably good. I'm guessing. Go ahead.
I think the other one actually might be a little bit more clear.
I think you might be correct. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, let's do this one.
Marked. Yeah.
Okay. So this is the proposed fence line, is that correct, Eric?
yes, because within there's that kind of dashed line, you see kind of that buffer zone. So that purple line is where we're looking to kind of draw that fence, and it's right on the outside there of that buffer zone. So, or inside of the buffer zone, excuse me.
Okay. I guess if first looking at it, like there's a 30-foot no disturb zone. So I think we'd want it to come in a little more towards the house. If I'm looking at this map correctly, I'm trying to, I can't remember if I was out on the site visit when this was originally approved. I'm trying to picture the location.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, it looks like there's definitely existing yard there now to an extent, right? It was probably part of the lot was.
Yes, it's pretty much more on the left side though. So that buffer zone.
Okay.
So I probably can't share my cursor, but there's this dotted line, that kind of dashed line, excuse me, on the side of the house is kind of where, yeah, exactly. That is where I think the buffer zone kind of limits are, and that's pretty close to the side of the house there. So
I gotcha. All right. Well, let me open that's kind of what I have for initial questions. I might ask if it can get marked out in the field, and I might want to come out if possible just to do a site visit to see where it's marked out. I'm just having
Okay.
I'm having
Sure.
trouble picturing it exactly. Sorry, but
Sure.
let me open it and see if there's other questions or comments from members of the commission.
Yeah, I think a site visit would be helpful.
Definitely.
Yeah, do we
Okay.
know if that little dotted line or the dots that are like little tiny one, is that the 25 or 30 foot
I think
knowledge
It
that's
looks-
reserve?
fine.
It looks like this is the 25 offset
Yeah.
right here, but I believe we updated our bylaw, so now it's 30-foot offset. Is that correct, Brian?
That is true. I'm wondering if when the house was first permit, I'm wondering when that basically takes effect, which is something we can double check, because I would think any new changes like a fence might be considered a new change. It would be a 30-foot instead of the 25-foot. But that's definitely, if we're planning to go out and take a look at where it's marked out from the field, that's something we can get a definite answer on before the next time we meet.
And is the fence, the back line there, is that the property line you're planning to put the
Yeah.
fence on?
Yeah, so looking at this now, I actually do have this incorrect. So that north line that's kind of going horizontal, it should be a little underneath. So that's actually my neighbor's limits. My neighbor has a strip above my property. So that line would actually be just a little slightly below that. So I apologize. That actually is not wrong now that I look at that, but
Okay.
Okay.
yeah.
All right, so maybe it's all right then.
I was
from
going to say that
perspective.
probably toes it in past that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the other question, and I'm sorry to cut you off, Paul. I don't know if you had another question.
No, I was also just curious, what is on that area right now? What kind of vegetation? Is it open lawn or is it some other type of vegetation?
So the area that I'm looking at for the fence line is actually pretty clear. There isn't anything much there. On the sides of it, there are a lot of viney kind of that really there's I don't really know what to call it. It's just that really viney kind of short brush. Do you know what I mean? It's that really kind of thick stuff. So that's pretty much it. As you go more towards the right, that's where there's a lot more trees and vegetation. But I obviously that's not where I'm looking to put the
Yeah.
fence line. So
And where is the pond that you're concerned about? Is
so that would be
which?
to the right. So there are you can see there's like the wetland area in between the small dotted lines in between there. There's a good amount of water, a little body of water kind of central in there. So
Okay, all right, thank you.
Other questions, comments from commission members? I was going to ask Eric, but I did see it is in our packets, what the type of fence it was going to be. So yeah,
it's basically just going to be kind of a two-phased approach. We have temporary kind of those T-posts right now with some wire fencing. That's going to go up first because this is going to be a long project. We're looking to do the other side of the property as well. So that will go up first, and then over time, I'm going to be replacing each one of those T-posts with like a proper, essentially fence posts, so we don't have gravel and cement and whatnot. So
okay. All right. Other questions, comments, thoughts? Anybody from the public here tonight to comment on this particular hearing? Seeing none. All right. So Eric, if possible, could we schedule a site visit and just ask you to basically mark out where the fence line is going to be, especially like the corner of it? Yeah, I mean, you don't have to mark every 2 feet, but give us a really good idea. And if possible, we can continue this till our next meeting. We'll try to schedule a site visit between now and then, get out there, and hopefully have some answers for your next meeting if possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever is soon for you, we can make that happen. So yeah, I can definitely do that.
That's excellent. Okay, so in that case, I'm going to make a motion that we continue the public hearing. Oh, I should ask. Sorry, Lauren. What's our first available time on the 15th?
7:30.
Okay. I'm going to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for the request for determination of applicability for 38 Harvard Road until our next public meeting, Tuesday, April 15th, 2025 at 7:30 p.m. Do I hear a second for continuing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So
And
either
Eric,
I was gonna say either Lauren or Rebecca will reach out to you to try to figure out some dates and times at work, and we'll
Okay.
try to get out for a visit, say before the 15th.
Okay, yeah, that works for me. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. You have a good night.
Thank you.
How are we in time? Oh, perfect. So next up, the Bolton Conservation Commission will continue the public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to discuss the notice of intent for 89 Spectacle Hill Road. The applicant has requested a continuation. I think they're still waiting to hear back on some of their stuff. So I was to say, Lauren, I suppose we can continue it till our next meeting. So say, I don't know how close they are, but
I haven't received an update from them. I don't think Rebecca has either. So we can just continue into the next meeting.
okay. All right. So all of that said, barring any objection, I'm going to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for 89 Spectacle Hill Road until our next public meeting, Tuesday, April 15th, 2025 at 7:40 p.m. Do I hear a second for continuing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Thanks.
All right. Next up, the Bolton Conservation. We got 5 minutes. Sorry. Oh, we can. Excuse me. Jumping ahead in the agenda a little bit, you'll see there's a discussion whether to authorize the land use administrator authorize the land use administrator to authorize the removal of trees. This is something that we've authorized Rebecca to do as the conservation agent. I believe it's, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 3 or less trees.
Yeah, 1 to 3 trees.
1 to 3 trees in an area that basically until now, Rebecca's been able to go out and if a person showed this is definitely overhanging their house, or this tree is definitely dead and needs to come down, or this tree is definitely a hazard, that up to 3 trees she could just approve on her own authority and they wouldn't need to come in front of the Conservation Commission. Does that make sense? Hopefully people are still comfortable with that. Okay. So this was to make a similar motion to basically authorize the land use administrator, or Lauren in this case, to have that same authority between 1 and 3 trees. Lauren does know how to identify them. She understands how we have done this in the past. And it's very helpful if, say, our conservation agent were out on maternity leave, to have somebody still empowered to do this at town hall. So, any reasons or objections to us authorizing the land use administrative assistant to do this?
Not for me.
In that case, I just want to make sure I say this correctly. I'm going to call for a roll call vote to authorize the land use administrative assistant to authorize the removal of trees from within, to authorize the removal of between 1 and 3 trees within jurisdictional areas, similar to authority granted to the conservation agent. All those in favor, please say aye, starting with Paul,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an I as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, minutes. Did Conservation Commission members have a chance to read through the March 18th, 2025 minutes? If so, any edits, corrections, changes? If not, does anybody require more time to read through the minutes? Seeing no objections, I am going, or no need for changes, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the minutes for our March 18th, 2025 meeting as drafted and submitted at this evening's meeting. Do I hear a second for minute approval?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul,
Abstain.
Jim,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an I as well.
Thanks.
You. 1 minute. Okay. Just about ready. We have like 30 seconds to go. So I don't know that there's anything else I can check off that quick.
I will mention the Learn to Fish Clinic, co-hosted by Mass Wildlife, is scheduled in July of 2025. I don't know if we have the exact date yet, but it is scheduled sometime in July. And I think that's been at Bowers in the past. Is that correct?
Correct. I believe that's where they're going to be doing it again, but more details to come. Thank you for pointing that out. All right. Okay. So the Bolton Conservation Commission will now continue the public hearing under Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and the Bolton Bylaw, Chapter 233, to discuss a notice of intent for Lot 2, Harvard Road, DEP file number 112-0755. Excuse me. Lauren, is the applicant or rep the applicant here this evening?
Yep, we have Brandon Ducharme here.
Brandon. Okay. So since our last meeting, we had agreed to go out on a site walk to take a look at. Lauren, are you able to pull up the plans? Or Brandon, I don't know if you have better plans to share.
Yeah, I can share.
Whatever it's going to be. That way you can use your cursor, which might make your life easier.
All right, is
Okay.
everybody able to see that? Yeah.
Yes. So we did go out on the site visit. I know last time we had talked about some of the water features that were, how they were marked on the USGS maps and what they actually appeared in as the field. You had mentioned they were quite different. We kind of want to take a look. Generally agree with what you had said, that these two water systems do separate. They don't appear to connect at all. One seems to continue going, I almost want to say westward. And as you marked on, and I think this drawing here shows basically where you saw where it actually starts to kind of form a stream at the end of this wetland system right here. And I thought you guys had marked that basically correctly too. I kind of was in agreement with where those systems were, how you had marked them out in the field. I think the one question I had, and it's, yeah, those two. And based on that, where you're putting the house, where you're putting the septic and everything, I thought made the most sense for the lot. It all made very good sense for me. The one question I had was kind of near the front of the driveway, really where that wetland system toes into the driveway. I was some of the marking, I wouldn't mind going back out to check again with an auger. It seemed, I know we're in drought right now. It seemed really wet and flowing almost at 10 feet or so closer to the actual driveway. But, and again, I definitely want other commission members to weigh in on this that were out on the site visit, what they saw, what they thought. And basically looking at where that wetland system comes and looking at the proposed driveway, and what would actually need to be filled and walled in order to do the driveway as proposed. Um, I I personally would like to see an alternate analysis going over the right of way above the gas line. It's flat. It's maintained its mode. I know that's by them, but like it doesn't require any fill near that wetland. That was a really wet area as to where the side of that driveway was going to be. It wouldn't require a wall be built in there. Um, I understand that it might be onerous to actually ask permission. Um, I am sorry, I feel for that, but as Paul pointed out, directly across the street, there's a house that has a driveway over that right of way. It just seems like it's such a more easy access that doesn't require us to mess around that close to the wetlands to fill areas that are clearly wet and kind of wallop around them. I'd like to see an alternate analysis where it goes over the existing right of way, and even if they, if it has to be gravel or something like that, that's fine. I'd like to see that analysis done, and that's kind of where I ended up after the site visit. But I'll put it out to other conservation commission members if they have questions, comments, or thoughts.
I had pretty much a similar thought that it is way too close to the wetland as we saw it on the site visit. And yeah, like even though it is more time to have to contact Tennessee Pipeline to go over the right of way, it makes more sense. It's further out from the wetland. Um, yeah, I would like to see that analysis, instead of what we've got right now.
And I should say, like Brandon, I could even see if it was, and I wish I had measured out in the field, but only like, the first, I want to say like 40 or 50 yards, along that right of way, and then kind of coming in, following around the edge of the wetland, almost how you have it marked as it comes in around that back corner of the wetland. I think that would be kind of fine, but at least for that first section, um, I'd like to see an alternate. I'd like to see what it would look like coming in off that right of way.
Yeah, okay. I mean, so I think based on the grading, in order to kind of get this, I think we're running about 10 or 12% down off of Harvard Road. We would still need to come in this location of Harvard.
Okay.
But what we could look at is obviously you come in, you make this initial turn. And again, what we're looking to do is avoid the 40-foot.
Right.
So we would be able to continue this down and then over the pipeline and then back up on. And again, I don't disagree. I mean, I think
I
the
know.
landowner would rather do that as well, because I'll tell you right now, it'll be a heck of a lot cheaper to build.
I was going to say they'll probably save what they lose in headaches, but is there any way that it could come in the entrance off the road could come in on the other side of the right of way? I'm just looking quickly here. It almost looks like they have like 20 feet. Yeah, like above the Dean Road.
There is a little bit of room there.
And just
the
kind of cut
issue
across.
is it's the slope coming down. So one of the things is I was able to get into Kinder Morgan's website just to do a little bit more research. And as I look at what their prohibited uses are, is that they don't want any physical barriers that would prevent them from accessing through there. They don't want any plantings, trees. You basically you can't do anything subsurface. So if you kind of look at the existing contours through here, and when we walk down there, you say it's pretty steep. So it'd be too steep for a driveway, which would require us, in order to do that, you'd have to put fill in this area to kind of soften that descent down. But we can certainly look at what it would do, but obviously we wouldn't be able to use any kind of a retaining wall or anything like that. But again, that's what, if we had a small leveling area here and then we were following that contour. So we're kind of going along the side slope, which would work us around that 40-foot if we could get the disturbance outside of that. So what I did was I actually put in a formal information request with Kinder Morgan and just let them know that we're in the process of developing this lot and we have a potential option to travel over their pipeline. And so I guess at this point, we've already engaged them, and I'm just waiting for them to kind of get back to me. Because as you said, I mean, if they'll allow it, we're all for it. Yeah, for
Yeah.
a number of reasons.
Mhm.
So I guess at this point, the only other thing we're going to offer up is for allowances in the buffer zone on that first section. We were willing to offer up this back portion of the property, which equates to about 3 acres, to put in a conservation easement. But again,
Yeah, I know.
if the commission's desire is to, let's pursue this all the way through with Kinder Morgan and just to see if they're going to allow it. I mean, I think the question they're going to come to is, do you have an alternative that doesn't allow you to travel over the utility? And I guess we'll present both those options to them, and we'll get their feedback.
Okay. All right. So other comments, questions from commission members right now? And anybody here from the public to comment on this tonight? All right. Seeing none. So Brandon, is it all right if we just continue it until you, and again, I feel I don't know how responsive Kinder Morgan will be. I'm hoping it's quick, but yeah, what, just continue it till the next meeting, and you can let us know if you've heard, and if you need to continue it again, you can just email basically.
Sure. Yeah, no, I mean, at this point, we'll continue to the next hearing. I kind of tried to put some urgency in our request that we're looking at constructing a driveway to kind of maybe get their attention a little bit.
Hopefully.
Not saying when, but so yeah, hopefully we hear back, but we'll certainly give you an update at the next hearing.
Okay. All right. In that case, I'd like to make a motion that we continue the public hearing for Lot 2 Harvard Road, DEP file number 112-0755 until our next public hearing, Tuesday, April 15th, 2025 at 7:50 p.m. Do I hear a second for continuing?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul,
Aye.
Jim,
Aye.
Lori,
Aye.
Sue,
Aye.
and Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have a good night.
Thanks, Brandon. Take care.
Brandon.
All right. So we have on the agenda the continued request for a certificate of compliance. Again, we're still waiting to hear back. It's probably will be later in May, June before we're actually able to see what plannings have taken hold. So we are once again going to take no action on that request for a COC. There's no updates on the enforcement orders. Everybody's still either working towards compliance, or in the case of Century Mill Estates, we are waiting updates. As far as the Forest Legacy Program, oh gosh, I can never say this. The Nashua, Squanicook, and Nissitissit River, right? It's the NSN, right? Yeah. Stewardship Council actually gave a grant, I believe it's through the Bolton Conservation Trust, to keep the process of that Forest Legacy Program going. Basically, we were promised federal funds. I want to say it's to do, I'm trying to think if we have it in the notes what it was. I know it's not so much title search, but I think it was almost for not title search, almost like a summary.
Funding of a survey,
Yeah.
VESPA
It's-
tract, to ensure
Yeah,
the
it was.
project continues to move forward.
it's like a resource survey, which basically shows what it is and why it's of importance. Anyhow, the NSN Stewardship Council, they're working with the Bolton Conservation Trust. They've agreed to give a grant to basically fund what the government was going to fund and keep the project moving for right now, which is great. There's still a chance the federal funding, again, it's all just on hold right now, but at least that project's still moving forward. So the homeowner hopefully is still considering putting that tract of land into Forest Legacy. Hopefully more updates to come, but moving forward again, which is great. Trail stewardship authorized programs are moving along. I know Rattlesnake trail marking is still the big highlight and still ongoing, right? They've gotten, I don't know, they haven't completed it, but they've gotten like a good chunk of it done, if I am correct, Lauren, right?
Yeah, they've been working hard on it, and I think we're still scheduled to be completed on time, and I think that was in May, we're hoping, the end of May. So, and it may be even sooner than that.
That's
We'll see.
excellent.
Yep.
I know we have a number of upcoming Earth Day events. Hopefully more on that later. I think some of the times are I was going to say dates and times, but the date is April 22nd, Earth Day. But times, locations, we're still fleshing out, but we do have some hopefully Earth Day activities planned.
Yep. And actually, if you go to the current events under the Conservation Commission on the website, you'll see those, and there's a few that you can actually register for if anyone's interested. There's the Earth Day story time at the library, I believe.
Yes.
And the community garden cleanup scheduled for April 22nd. So if anyone's interested in that, you can register right there on the website.
Excellent. Say our volunteer land steward position still available. Still have one position available on the Conservation Commission. I think that is everything that we had on the agenda. Lauren, did I miss anything?
I think you covered it.
Yeah,
I think we're good.
Commission members, any new business, anything any members of the commission want to discuss or add to the agenda for next time?
Nope.
Being done. In that case, I am going to make a motion that we hereby adjourn our Tuesday, April 1st, 2025 meeting of the Bolton Conservation Commission. Do I hear a second for adjourning?
Second.
All those in favor, starting with Paul.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
Sue.
Aye.
And Lauren, I'm an aye as well.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you all. Have
Thanks.
a wonderful evening.
Have a nice night.
Bye-bye.
Recording stopped.